Hello, everyone. This is Tommy Lee Hayes Brown with Rito Recognition Solutions. I'm here with my friend Dr. Charles Scherbaum, who's our Chief Analytics Officer. Charles has agreed to spend some time with us, about 20 minutes, just to go over a great topic, which is the return on investment with your recognition program. Charles is the industry expert in analytics, talent assessment, performance management, and employee research. For over 12 years, Charles has overseen numerous research and analytic initiatives that play significant roles in the success of a number of Fortune 500 companies. A part of the Rito Recognition Solutions team since 2007, Charles consults with Rito and its clients on predictive analytics and workforce metrics. Charles received his PhD in industrial and organizational psychology from Ohio University and is an associate professor of psychology at Baruch College. Among a wide variety of courses he's taught are HR analytics, performance management, personnel psychology, and psychometrics. He's a writer. He's been published in a bunch of a variety of industry periodicals. We're just very, very happy to have him with you today. And again, the return on investment for recognition is really a hot button topic. All of us recognition professionals have to be able to prove the return on our investment spend. And if we don't, we are in jeopardy of losing the rally and the finances to make sure that our employees are engaged and thus our organization's results improve. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to my friend Charles. If you do have questions, please tap the tab that says ask a question and enter in there. I'll get it directly and we'll have a short Q&A at the end with Charles and your questions. Thank you. Go ahead, Charles. It's on you.
All right. Thanks so much, Tommy Lee. I really appreciate that warm introduction. As Tommy Lee mentioned, we're really going to talk about the question of how do you demonstrate really the value and the return on your recognition program. Certainly, survey after survey has shown that most organizations have some form of a recognition program, whether that's a years of service program, it might be a behavioral-based or points-based program, and it may even be a non-monetary, social or informal peer-to-peer recognition program, but most companies have some form of this and invest heavily in the technologies, the solutions related to this. Now, the reason we do this is because we believe it creates a better employee experience, helps motivate employees and elevate performance. Now, while these are very common, one of the most discouraging things I think about it is that survey after survey shows that employees do not feel recognized or appreciated at work. And the reason this is discouraging is the most basic thing that a recognition program is supposed to facilitate in an organization is employees feeling recognized. And so we have to start asking the questions of, well, why is it that we have all of these programs and employees are not feeling recognized? And therefore, how do we need to look at this question to really show the ROI? And so there's a real opportunity that I want to talk to you today about how we can better leverage the employee recognition programs we have to truly show the ways in which they are impacting employee experience, customer experience, and organizational success. So I think there's a great opportunity, and I'm going to talk about the ways in which we can do that and share a little bit of how we've done that with some of our clients. Now, everybody in the recognition space in one way or another has probably been asked the ROI question before. It's a difficult one to answer. And I got to say, like when we started out on our journey about 12 years ago, we didn't have the answer either. And some of what you're going to see today really is about a decades-long odyssey that my colleagues at Rito and I have gone on to really understand how do we examine and link recognition programs to organizational success. Now, to date, there's been what I've seen is three primary approaches of how people have tried to answer this question. The first one is that they look at program utilization and participation. Given that most of these programs sit on platforms that are technology enabled, it's fairly easy to see, are people using them? Are they logging in? Have they registered? Are they providing recognition? Clearly, this is very important because obviously a program can't work if the program's not being used. So this kind of approach to looking at the ROI question does provide some foundational information about the program's use and its participation. Again, if it's not getting traction in the organization, it really never will create any ROI or any value for the organization. Second is surveys that we might do of managers and organizations that have recognition programs, asking them to rate a variety of questions around the perceived value of these programs. Do they think it works? Do they believe it's driving engagement? Do they believe that it's reducing turnover, reducing absenteeism, driving performance, and driving success? Managers who are more effective at recognition have more engaged employees. Managers who are more effective at recognition have more satisfied customers. Managers who are effective at recognition produce better business results. Now, to date, most programs do not measure recognition effectiveness. And I need to say, when we started this journey, I can't say that we did either. And really what we discovered through a variety of predictive analytics studies and AI type studies is that once we can get to effectiveness, we can truly and clearly see the ways in which recognition drives business success. Now, to measure recognition effectiveness, there's a couple of things we need to do that are pretty different than what we do today. First of all, we need to look at not just simple utilization, but we need to dig deeper. We need to look at a variety of types of activity. So for example, it's not so much to say that there was recognition activity, but who was recognized? How often were they recognized? What was the rate of recognition? Really, the RQ score is a metric that indicates the effectiveness of the manager at providing recognition to her or his employees. Managers can be very high at this, or they can be very low. It's much like what you would think of as a predictive analytics algorithm or machine learning algorithm. It has a variety of different components that are combined. But if I were to think about the types of information that goes into the score, it's really the recognition activity, what we call recognition outputs, and ongoing recognition perception. So this is the employee's experience with the recognition that they have received from their manager. And again, this is the key to this formula, is it tells us not only what's happening, but were those activities effective for the employee. So one of the things we can clearly see here is that when managers are effective at recognition, there's a better experience. The employees are more engaged, the employees are more focused on the client, and the employees have a greater sense that the organization is competitive in its marketplace. We can also look at employee experience in more focused ways. For example, recognition. Managers who are more effective at recognition on the RQ score have employees who report they're getting more recognition for a job well done. The organization is making better use of recognition to encourage performance. And also we're seeing that inclusivity is a little bit higher in these particular groups. That managers, when they're more effective at recognition, they're able to create work groups where opinions, particularly differing opinions, can be discussed and debated in constructive ways. Certainly that every organization right now is thinking about how to broadly be inclusive of all employees, and certainly recognition appears to be a very useful tool in helping that happen. We see that also when we think about resiliency and general senses of well-being, that when managers are effective at recognition, employees are feeling more accomplished and getting greater satisfaction from their work. They're feeling less pressured by their job. Again, they're more resilient. And certainly when we think about well-being and that we're asking employees to do more with less, resiliency is critical. And that they believe management is interested in their well-being. So again, those more positive interactions between the manager and the employee are leading to much more positive perspectives on the organization, its intentions, and the work itself. Now, while looking at engagement is really important, we think about a service profit chain. It's something very early on in that chain. Let's for a moment jump to the other end of that cycle and think about the actual end in terms of sales. And what we were able to do again is we looked at the managers who really are among the best at recognition, the most effective, and those who are among the least. And we looked at subsequent sales performance. So for example, we looked at the RQ scores at the end of March, and then we looked at what happened in the following 8 months after that. And what we can see is a very clear pattern. month after month, managers who are more effective at recognition produce better sales results in the future. And before we open it up for questions, is today what we've really talked about is the idea of how can we show ROI? And there's three primary ways that people have traditionally done this. And we're really proposing a fourth that's focused not on managers' opinions or on simple usage activity, but really around recognition effectiveness and measuring the effectiveness of your managers at how well they interact and provide recognition to their employees, and then linking indicators of effectiveness to organizational outcomes. And what we have found in our work with our clients, as we've shown today, is that when managers are effective at recognition, they just produce a better employee experience and better financial results. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Tommy Lee, to see if we have any questions.
We do. We have a couple. Well, one, two. We have four.
All right.
Let's see how much time we should be able to get through them.
Yes.
So Tamika says, does the RQ score work just as well for new managers as seasoned managers? Is it just as valuable no matter your skill set or your tenure?
Yes, this is a great question. Recognition is a skill. It's not something that we're born with and that we develop over time. So even someone who's a new manager might be particularly effective at recognition. People who are very seasoned managers could be effective, or they could be very ineffective at it. So the nice thing about the RQ score is the way it works is it benchmarks you against yourself over time. So regardless of where you start, the key is really, are you making progress and improving the way you interact with your employees? So we haven't found that it's necessarily related to experience or time on the job, that there just are some people with a greater degree of skill at this. Those that probably have worked for companies that have greater investment in their managerial talent, might be a little better at it than, let's say, companies where we don't really invest in our managerial talent.
Well, thank you very much. That's the end of our questions. How do we reach you, Charles, if we want to contact you after this?
All right, I'm going to put my contact information here up on the screen. And so if you have any questions or questions you want to ask and you weren't able to do them today, or would like to hear more about our RQ score and the way we've approached recognition effectiveness, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to talk to you.
That's awesome. And take him up on it. He means it. Thank you, Charles.
All right, thank you.
I'll see you again. Take care.